Hello everyone, and now welcome to game 2 in this series between Siu versus Minato here on Daybreak. So far, Empire Siu does control a 1-0 lead in this series as we now move on to game 2. Minato spawning as the yellow Zerg in the top right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Empire's Siu spawning as the red Protoss. Now, PvZ once more, but this time on a much smaller map. I am curious as to what the play will be and whether Minato will even try, if Siu will even try to use that photon cannon strategy that we saw. There's the good luck, have fun coming in, and these players very, very well-mannered. Always nice to see well-mannered players play together. It's always a hope and a dream for us viewers that the players who play StarCraft 2 for a living actually enjoy doing so and able to give a little bit of a smile, and at least for us viewers as well as to each other. Probe now coming up the ramp. We'll take a quick look around, see that there is pretty much nothing going on. And will Minato once again go for a hatchery first, or will he go for a spawning pool first? Now, based upon what we saw in the previous game, I wouldn't be surprised if he does go spawning pool first, just because he doesn't want to fall prey to what happened in the previous game. Now, obviously, the economic opening is much stronger if you go for a hatchery first, but it is also a little bit riskier, as we saw in the previous matchup. And all this one probe can really do is place down a pylon to try and delay this drone, which should be exactly what we see here. Now the drone just still pushing that probe around, and it looks like the probe doing a very good job of trying to stay just inside this hatchery zone there. Oh, there's the hatchery being placed down, and that probe now heading back up the ramp, knowing, you know what, I can't really place down a pylon and try to do anything here, as the Zerglings will already be coming out. Meanwhile, Forge and Nexus has come into play. I do believe it was a Nexus first. So a greedier opening coming in once more, as Minato does get an Overlord there in time. Now, with all of this, the probe should be backing off. Forge is ready to go now. And what is going to be this natural follow-up play? Plenty of drones. It looks like we are going to be staying gasless, and Minato is going for the long haul. You can take a look. Zergling now making its way down. It looks as though a drone already trying to set up to be a third base. That probe gonna try and go ahead and scout and sees that, oh wait, there is no drone and there is no hatchery. Beautiful mind fake there by Minato with the foresight to pull back the drone to hide him behind the mineral line, as the probe now doesn't really have the opportunity to swing back around and scout again. This is important to note. Oh, the shields are naturally recharging. It is now down to 5 hit points. One more shot and it should get it, and wow, that, talk about cutting it extremely close. The Zerglings should be able to finish it off here, and finally there it goes. Probe so close to getting home, but yet so far away. Now, scouting probe, or perhaps proxy pylon probe of Siu making his way out. Will he perhaps set up anything of importance, or no, the Zerglings will scout him out again? This has been a very, very crucial play, as you never want to allow your opponent to know exactly what you're doing. The probe should be making a beeline move straight to that third base, which it is in fact going to spot, and based upon the timing goes, you know what, you tricky Minato, right after that probe scouted, you had to set up that hatchery. No way, no chance that that hatchery was so close to being completed that I did not scout it out earlier. Now, let's take a look. We can see level 1 weapons upgrade coming in, and this is a very, very early level 1 weapons upgrade. So the Protoss player could be trying to go for some sort of 2-base all-in. It will be up to the Zerg player Minato to scout this out and perhaps get an Overlord or a Zergling here to see how much Chrono Boost is used on the Forge. So far, no Chrono Boost out on the Forge or the Cybernetics core, which means that he's not trying to be that aggressive. And a more telltale sign that he's not trying to be that aggressive is this third base by the Protoss. So it is not going to be it is not going to be a very fast, very fast two-base all-in. Instead, it is going to be an economic game by both sides. With this, you can take a look at the production and the army. Both sides very small army supplies. And what was that? Did my eyes deceive me? For one moment, it looked like there were 12 drones being trained at a time. And Minato pretty much has a license to drone. This license to drone is very dangerous. Even though both players are up on 3 bases each, you are going to see a much higher drone count for the Zerg. Reason why? Production from hatcheries can train up more drones than a chrono-boosted Nexus can. That's just a simple matter of fact. I believe each hatchery can train up 8 drones a minute, a little bit more than 8 drones a minute, plus the overlord that it takes on average. So you give a Zerg player 1 minute to freely drone off of 3 hatcheries, and lo and behold, I have 30 drones. That's full saturation on 3 bases already. So you can take a look, pretty much full saturation on all the bases, as we now should be seeing some units finally being trained. Mothership Core is out on the field, getting in some easy shots, as we already see a Hydralist then. This comes as a bit of a surprise to me, as I haven't seen a lot of Hydralists play. Minato really using the Hydralist a bit more. We saw him use it in Game 1 to no avail, but perhaps it will work out well in Game 2. I believe that the Hydralists are generally a very effective unit if the Protoss player was trying to go for air. With a map like this, Oracle and Void Rays isn't out of the question, and most of the time Robotics Facility and Extended Thermal Lance Range with Colossi is more of a reactionary measure based upon what units he spots. You can now see additional gateways being placed down, and this is a good sign showing that the Protoss player is ready for an engagement. You can see 3 gateways off over here, so a very strong wall. Hi Theognis, how you doing? As we also see some Zerglings now down to play here. Alright, Hallucinated Phoenix still doing a bit of a flyby. Hydralist now making its way over as well. I gotta say, Theognis I think killed me when we played once, and he was even using Zerg. Anyways, Zerglings, Hydralist now ready to go. It looks like the Zealots are getting in position. Where are they going? As the Zerglings are going to be heading up that ramp, and there is double pylon here. Hydralists are in position, no groove spines, and the Hydralists are like, you know what? You can force field all you want. I really don't care because I got superior range on you. If you can attack me, I can attack you back, or will be soon, as the groove spines nearing completion. There's the Hydralist, and oh, are we going to see an engagement there? No, baiting some more force fields, and this has been some really strong, nice play. Now Minato already expanding up to a 4th base. This is rather unorthodox. 4 bases before the 12-minute mark on a Zerg. Alright, it's not unheard of, but what we should see is that Minato will go mainly for the gas on these bases, and then he'll be able to train up all of the hive tech that he wants. Infestor Broodlord would have been the natural choice in Wings of Liberty, but this time around, in Heart of the Swarm, I'm not quite sure what to expect just quite yet. Alright, I need to... yeah, I am busy. Let me go ahead and set that up, as we now see Zerglings and Hydralists ready to move. Coming across, we can see 1-0 upgrades. Now also level 1 Zerg flyer attacks coming in, as well as we can see Mutalisk coming in for a bit of harassment. There's a quick cancellation there. Photon cannons force back here. Minato definitely going to have plenty of Mutalisk in just a moment, as we are also seeing a fleet beacon. Alright, are we going to be going into carriers or no? Aeon Pulse Crystals for the +2 range on those Phoenixes. Phoenix really dealing a lot of damage to Mutalisk, especially with that additional +2 range. So far, double or quad force fields across the ramp, making it nearly impossible for units to get back in. Here's the engagement. No Corruptors, though, as the Mutalisk are now simply trying to fly in and take down the Colossus. Is enough damage going to be dealt? It looks as though, no, that Colossus down to 44 hit points, as the Mutalisk going after the Stalkers now, instead of going after the higher priority targets. It looks as though, yes, more Mutalisk now coming in. It looks as though the Colossi should be able to finish off a lot more Hydralisks. Not quite sure why the Mutalisk are not focusing them down, as they're going after the Stalkers instead. And with that, the Colossus getting in a lot more kills than it should. That was a horrible mistake by Minato, but Minato using a brute force tactic, just trying to come in with as many units as possible. Zerglings now have busted down the front door as the Phoenixes are looking to finish off more units. Alright, is it going to be enough? The Phoenixes can micro, not quite sure what's going on here. As you can see, the Phoenix, with only a range of 5, Phoenixes able to catch up. Zealots now coming back around. There are plenty of Phoenixes still. How are 3 Mutalisks going to do against a whole bunch of photon cannons? It looks like fairly well, especially with Zergling support, as the Mutalisks are once again engaging. This is not the most efficient trade by Minato, but Minato really was hoping and banking on the fact that his superior economy would give him the victory. Not enough focus fire there, but perhaps all of his attention was focused on production, where we can see just seas and seas of Zerglings still being added. Alright, Zerglings now backing off as you see the Corruptors, the Phoenixes still pretty much going unanswered. Coming back around, it is going to be 3 base Protoss versus a 5 base Zerg. Zerg yet to do anything here, as the Queen will get Graviton beamed, picked up, and shot down out of the sky. There it goes. More Zerglings now ready to come in, but that is an army of Zealots if I ever saw one. And without the 2-2 upgrades, the Zerglings will not stand a chance. Phoenix is now making their way over. It looks as though, yes, another Queen going to get shot down. Drones going to get picked up one at a time. And now what are all of these drones hoping to do, as more drones getting transferred over? Alright, shot after shot. We are now going into level 3 weapons upgrades. The ion cannons on those Phoenixes having superior, or having the same range as a photon cannon. That really shows you how far the range is on the Phoenix here in Heart of the Swarm. Range of 7. Just a very, very long range indeed, especially when going up against a Mutalisk, almost or more than double the range of a Mutalisk. Corruptors now going to try to engage, and the Corruptors are not going to be able to even battle this at all. Alright, in comes the Spore Crawler. Spore Crawler is able to push this all back. Is it going to be enough? And this is a problem. I do not know what exactly the Protoss player is going to do with 12 Phoenixes. These 12 Phoenixes, if you just have a massive ground army, is pretty much going to go unanswered. However, there are Corruptors on the field, and the Corruptors may be tied up focusing down Phoenixes instead of going after Colossi. Corruptors are upgraded, I believe 1-0, no additional armor upgrades, which would be very efficient against the Phoenix. What is the base armor on a Corruptor? Is it 2? Yes, it is. So the Phoenixes will only be dealing 6 damage per attack, a little bit less than, I believe, about 5 damage a second, or somewhere in that ballpark. Now, probes are doing a bit of long-distance mining. It is 5 bases to 4. Both players with massive armies, and both players wanting to make sure that they engage properly. If they engage in the wrong location at the wrong time, things will completely melt them apart, as we see 2 Ultralisk caverns coming in at nearly the same time. Are there actually 2 upgrades on Ultralisks? Besides the chitinous armor, I don't know what the other upgrade is. Alright, maybe I'm just over-imagining things there. Nope, there is only 1 upgrade, so this Ultralisk Cavern is completely useless, as the Zergling's doing a bit of a run-by, and this was just to sacrifice supply. You may have been wondering what exactly that was about. Ultralisk freeing up supply for some Ultralisk, and there we go. Chitinous armor is being completed. There is 2 of them, and you can tell which one is currently upgrading, as we now see an engagement here. Time Warp, Zerglings unable to get us good surround on those Zealots. Banelings, Corruptors now pulling back, as this is going to become a very, very bad fight. The Corruptors cannot even engage against the Phoenixes, and this is perhaps why the Phoenix is such a good anti-air unit now. The Corruptor, a pure anti-air unit as well, doesn't stand a chance, as the Phoenixes can fly circles around these Corruptors. That is perhaps a bit of a problem, as the Corruptors unable to engage unless they're actually closer in range. Ultralisk now trying to come in. Minato sitting on 159. 7 more Ultralisks coming in, and we should be getting level 3 weapons up, or armor and weapons upgrades for all of the melee attacks, as this Ultralisk now tries to hide here. Is it going to be enough? I do not believe so. 1 poor Ultralisk trying to make their way in, but surprisingly are no Immortals in production, even though we know that Ultralisk is the current tech. Mothership core could be upgraded. Not quite sure why anyone would downgrade their mothership core to a mothership at this point. I haven't seen a mothership in years, I believe now, or in StarCraft 2 time, I gotta believe it's years, as the Stalkers are able to blink back. Another time warp coming in, and the Ultralisks are actually making their way through all of these units. You can see what the armor is doing, that 5 armor, making it very difficult for those Stalkers to really break through at all, only dealing 12 damage per attack. Also, the Mothership core is only dealing 3 damage per attack there. Alright, oh, this hatchery, oh, this could be bad. The hatchery is going to get shot down by a Mothership core. That is an absolute hilarious sight there. There it goes, as the Spore Crawlers are unable to root in time to really protect it. Down goes another base, as it is now 4 bases to 3 in favor of Sioux. All right, Banelings now ready to go, though. Let's take a look at the army supplies. Army of the Protoss, much larger. Worker supply about even, as the Mothership Core sees the Banelings and what is going to be unfolding here. Banelings, are they going to perhaps Graviton Beam? Oh, Zealot's going to get melted. There's some huge hits there, as the entire Zealot army taken down in a matter of seconds. Ultralisk so much more powerful here in Heart of the Swarm, but is it gonna matter? Is it enough? Minato having and dealing a devastating blow already, as the Ultralisks are still chomping their way through. Immortals finally arriving onto the field, and you can see the difference that one Immortal can make. All right, Colossus with that extended thermal lance range now coming in to clean up everything else. Zerglings there to counter the Immortal, and now the Ultralisks are still charging in. This is a lot of damage on both sides. Army supply 29 to 45. Worker supply is much lower for Sio now, as he's trying to get away from all of these Zealots. All right, Phoenix is now making their way over, unable to Graviton Beam any of these units. The Zealots are unable to engage either. You can see there is a Graviton Beam to try and save the Immortal, as the Immortal would just get taken down in a matter of seconds, and it still does. Here we have it. Archon's now trying to come in. Perhaps that will be the counter. Minato has a slight supply advantage. He has also a slight army advantage, but it is in terms of tech and in upgrades that he still has a much stronger advantage there. 301 upgrades, as Archon's now coming in. All right, a huge battle coming in from both sides. It looks as though a hatchery has been reestablished. It is now essentially one mining base versus one mining base here on both sides. Where are all of the drones? Drones are all piled up right here. 16 over 3 there, 20 over 24 there, and a little bit mining here. The natural expansion here does not have that many workers at all, as we see the Phoenixes are trying to find a target to take down anything to really deal damage. Income, Minato more than doubling his opponent, and that is going to be the problem. All of this walk of shame probing, trying to do some long distance mining here, and that is just not going to work. Efficiency goes out the window for a technically advanced technologically advanced race. Oh, can't even say that. Anyways, Void Ray still coming in. Archon's now coming in, and this is the units that perhaps and the Protoss player wants to try and handle all of these Ultralisks and Zerglings. It's interesting. The Immortals are there to handle the Ultralisks. The Archons are there to handle the Zerglings. And it really will come down to which units are attacking which. If the Immortals are within melee range of the Zerglings, then it will be over. If the Archons are able to protect those Immortals will focus down those Ultralisks so quickly that they'll get burst down, and then the Archons won't have to worry about high damage, as their splash damage will finish off all of the Zerglings. It's going to be all about positioning and numbers in the next fight. 97 versus 73. Let's take a look. Income, are we anywhere closer? No, we are not. And I think Minato is just waiting to get a superior army size before he engages in this, what will most likely be the last fight. Army supply, only a 16 supply difference. Banelings coming in as well. 3-3 Banelings. That is just a sight for sore eyes there, especially from the eyes of a Zealot. Speaking of eyes of a Zealot, there is not a single Zealot in play on the field. Archons do not take that much damage at all. from those banelings, as we now see, oh, a graviton beam picking up a baneling, and it will detonate in the air. How cute of a play is this? Phoenix is going, you know what? I don't like these banelings. I'm just gonna pick them up and pop them one at a time. What are you gonna do about it? Oh, you're gonna make spore crawlers. That's nice. Yeah, that's really nice. It's gonna take you quite some time. All right. Pathogen glands. It looks like it is going to be Ultralisk Infestor coming in. Meanwhile, 20 over 24 supply. And Minato does have an extra base up. This is huge. So does the Protoss player. 35 over 24. Ultra is now ready to go. Here is the engagement. Time Warp on the north side, as well as the banelings are simply splashing around. Ultralisk getting within range as the shields go down. Void Rays with that prismatic alignment trying to focus down all the Ultralisk. Dark Templars in here as well. Photon overcharge, as yes, the Ultralisk will just be slicing and dicing again. More Zealots. Oh, Zealots getting stuck all over Ultralisk getting stuck all over the place as all the units are now forced to back off. That was not an efficient trade in terms of army count, but efficient enough as it does stop mining once more. That is all Minato needs to do. He has not been, I would not say that he's been playing superior to his opponent, but his macro has simply been top notch, and he's been winning just because of superior numbers. Macro greater than micro. Let's take a look at the losses. 9,000 more losses for Minato, but it doesn't matter to Minato because Minato is getting 800, or actually more than 800, 900 to 1,000 more resources a minute than his opponent at this point. All right, Overseer looking to fly back. It will be popped. Army supplies 78 to 41. Minato ready to come back once more. It looks like Infestor is going to be the new unit in this go around. And I really like how players are still finding Infestors to be very, very strong. A lot of players thought that the Infestors got a major nerf, which they in fact did. Infested Terrans no longer benefiting from the weapons or armor upgrades. On top of that, the fungal growth now being a missile projectile. Or a projectile missile, however you want to describe it. As, oh, are we going to see some graviton beams? Oh, there you go. There is a double growth there, as we could see another fungal growth. Oh, are we going to see another? There is another fungal growth there. Is it going to get saved? Yes, it gets transfused, and they get taken down. Beautiful, beautiful save there, as there are some changelings now out on the field. It doesn't really matter. And what will be going down next? Void Rays, Dark Templars, Neuroparasite. And we've seen Neuroparasite change the tides of war in the past, and it looks like that will be the case again. The problem with Archons and Immortals is that, and Void Rays, is that any unit that has a higher supply count than an Infestor is just huge, huge, huge in Neuroparasite bait. If you can sacrifice, or essentially sacrifice your 2 supply unit to get a 4 supply unit, why wouldn't you do it? And that does seem to be the case here. We're now going into Pneumatized Carapace. I can't imagine a Doom drop of any sort coming in. Neuroparasite needing in a little bit more time. It looks like it's going to be about 7 or 8 seconds. The Infestors are like, you know what? I'm over eager. And then, wait, now going to be coming back. How many Infestors is that? Oh my gosh, that is 26 Infestors. If the opponent had a whole bunch, an absolute massive number. All right. Yeah, that is just a scary, nasty Zerg army. A 12,000, almost 13,000 resource Zerg army in Banelings, Infestors, Ultralisk, Overseers. That is going to be just a horrible, horrible day. And here comes the final shot, final game. There is the Time Warp. Infestors now coming in. There's some fungal growth. There's the Neuroparasites. Everything is just getting stomped on right now. So many infested Terrans. And the Protoss player just thinks to himself, you know what? I don't even need to see the end of this. Everything's going to die. And Minato takes game 2, even though he lost more than his opponent, taking game 2 in an impressive macro fashion. Always like to see these late games here on Daybreak. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 2, and we'll see who's able to take the series as we go to the final game in this 3-game set.